Fucking hell, Walter. Jesus Christ. Now, seeing as some of you loved my Subverse review, I originally thought I'd do a review on a game Steam keeps recommending called Succubus Cafe. However, unlike Subverse, this isn't a video game with sex, this is a legit fucking simulator. However, after refunding that game like an old man trying to return soup in a deli,
I said easy, big fella!
I was introduced to something better. Remember the fantastic show MXC? Well, it was funny and entertaining and made you feel the pain of the contestants playing the game. Good shit, right?
Make it nice and clean.
Easier better, the rectal shaver.
The rectal shaver, it goes where tweezers are afraid.
Well, there's a game that's just released that merges MXC with Indiana Jones or Tomb Raider in a single indie game that's a first-person platformer called Phantom Abyss. Now, from the multiple streams that I've done, rages and reactions that I've had with Phantom Abyss, it's got a great, solid foundation with room to grow and improve. As you can see, or you might already have seen, Phantom Abyss is a challenging yet highly entertaining first-person puzzle platforming game where you'll play as an explorer traversing through temples to retrieve an idol similar to that a la Raiders of the Lost Ark. You'll need to avoid darts coming out of the walls, swinging pendulums, spikes coming out of the floors, basically everything you'd expect in a booby-trapped temple. Your mission is to reach the idol before other players do, and only one player in the world can complete that temple. When starting a temple, you'll have only one key item with you, and that's your magical retractable whip that goes straight back into its handle, just like my dick.
I am not listening. La 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 la.
The whip is obviously used to lasso yourself and reach platforms that you normally can't reach when you're jumping, but it also comes in handy if you've fallen off a ledge and you can't quickly grab and pull yourself up. Finally, just like Zelda has taught us so many times, you can use the whip to smash vases and pots where you'll find money.
Money, money, money.
Speaking of money, that's the key resource found in Phantom Abyss. Throughout each temple you find treasure chests of varying size with money inside, which can be used for blessings. At the start or the end of leveled section areas of the temple, you'll find a shrine where you can spend your coins to restore health or give you a larger health pool, extend the range of your whip, double jump, and you can also spend coins to completely avoid traps. Basically, there are giant doors which can bypass a whole platforming section, but by doing so, you spend precious coins. When you start a temple too, you'll have the ghosts of other players running around, and you can see where other players have died or how they've gotten around puzzles if you choose to keep up with them. Now this is an interesting mechanic, as you can see other players running around, but you can't interact with them, and seeing other players run around gives you the sense of this game is a race and you rush into situations. Multiple times I've had this mentality and ran into swinging blades and floor traps or just fallen off an edge. Anytime you take damage, as you might have guessed, you'll lose a heart or half a heart depending on how you took the damage, just like in Zelda. Reach 0 hearts and you're eliminated from the temple and you go back to a hub area where you can load straight back into another randomly generated temple. Now obviously Phantom Abyss is a first person game and you can avoid fall damage by hitting the crouch button as you fall and you roll out of the damage, and the rolling effect and seeing it in first person always had me chuffed when I nailed the landing. There were a few instances though where I misjudged the distance and took fall damage though. Now by seeing other players' spirits or phantoms or whatever you want to call them, it'll give you a sense of rushing through the temple. Now also other players can activate traps too, so you need to be careful about that, but I found myself snapping out of this mindset and taking my time to explore and carefully go through areas. However, you can't go through each level of the temple at this speed though. Each temple is separated up into multiple levels. Basically when you're running around a temple and you see a shrine, you've reached the end and you're in a bit of a safe area. A bit, not much, but a bit like Left 4 Dead, how the safe areas separate and span out the levels. When going deeper into temples and into different levels if you will, you'll have these things known as guardians, which basically force the player to move faster throughout the temple. So rather than running and trying to keep up with other players, you'll need to avoid the guardian chasing you. Now there are multiple guardians, a rage guardian which basically chases you down, and if you get too close the screen goes red and you take damage. There is a ranged guardian with a laser that will shoot out of its eye,
frickin' laser beams attached to their heads,
and a guardian that will drop poison bombs. Now, as you progress through each level in the temple, the guardians will get faster and more dangerous, and the only way to avoid a guardian or get rid of them completely is by avoiding traps, running through the temple, and getting to the safe area where the guardian won't be able to follow you through. What Phantom Abyss needs though is the option or ability to play private games with friends where you compete against your friends, where you can sabotage or activate floor traps or work together until you've reached the idol and then basically turn into Alfred Molina and fuck them over.
Adiós, señor.
I understand that this game is in early access, but this is a game mechanic that I thought needs to be in the game at launch, if not as soon as possible. Now, as the game is in early access, it is frequently getting patches and updates to sort things out, and I've noticed that there's been frame rate drops both while I'm streaming and while I've just been playing offline chatting with friends. There have been moments where I've hit the barrel roll button to a roll out of damage, and it hasn't registered that button, and I've taken damage, and in some instances died and been knocked out of a level. Having said that though, every time I boot up and play Phantom Abyss, I'm learning or seeing something new. Now there is a brief tutorial in the game, but it doesn't teach you everything. Randomly logging on and playing, there was a trap that I'd never seen before, which was just a trapdoor that would immediately open and you'll fall through, and it's not the trapdoors that we've seen where they clearly drop through when you step on them. They just came out of nowhere. From watching other Phantom players, I could see that they were using their whip to actually stop spinning blades in the temple, which the game doesn't teach you that. For an early access game, Phantom Abyss has some great premise. In my opinion, it's already leaps and bounds better than Fall Guys in regards to its wacky zaning traps and competing against other players, while it also felt like Cuphead, where just like in Cuphead, you fail temples due to your reactions and what your character does. It's never because of something cheap or the game bugging out, it's always getting caught in the moment and acting cocky. So far in 2021, Phantom Abyss is my favourite early access game, and for $30, I think it's worth it. If anything you've seen in this video has got you interested, bring up Steam and check out Phantom Abyss.
What are these people running from?